Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I'm happy to be here with you. On this episode of No Soundbites Allowed, I want to address something that's pretty common. I hear it all the time. I've been hearing it for years and years, and I'm just tired of it. So let's get right to it. It's a variation on the comment, "You can't say that." I hear it all the time, and whether it can be something that's based on race, it's based on politics, it's mostly based on race. And you can't say that because you're black. You can't say that because you're a black Republican. You can't be a black Republican. I'll give you a couple of examples. So I hear people who say, well, we want to talk about race relations. We want to talk about gun control. Gun control. You can't say that gun control has failed because I'm pointing to Chicago and saying they have the most gun control in the world, in the nation, excuse me. And in that, we've seen that for decades with the highest levels of gun control. Chicago still has the highest number of black on black deaths. It has the highest number of shootings. It has the highest number of murders. Gun control has unequivocally failed, and the data proves it. And that's the truth. It does prove it. With all the safeguards, it has failed. But you can't say that because someone emotionally feels like, well, that's not appropriate and they want gun control. Or I've heard people say, well, you can't speak about abortion. You're a male. You can't talk that. You can't say that. Well, as far as I am aware, and it is biologically correct, you can't give birth to a human being without a male and a female. There's only two genders, and it takes a male and a female to give birth to a child. So there should be some input from males in the process about whether or not an abortion should happen. Now, I'm not saying that women don't have a voice. Please don't misunderstand me. And I'm not saying that they may have an overwhelming voice. But I am saying that there are two people involved. And yeah, both voices should be heard. But you can't say that because you're a male. Well, that's ridiculous. I have people who say, well, you can't say that because they don't like the statement that's being made. Like, I can't say I'm a black Republican. I can't say that I'm a conservative because I'm black and Hispanic. What do you mean? I have a First Amendment right. Of course I can say that. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. But you can't tell me I can't say that. I've heard people like the local leaders in Black Lives Matters and Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, PLOT, and they've said, you can't say that you don't agree with our politics. It must mean you're not black enough. Well, sorry, my birthright is not a question for debate. When I wake up every morning, I'm black. I'm Hispanic. I was born that way. It's not arbitrary. It's not something that Black Lives Matter or Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow or anyone, Joe Biden, you don't get a choice on that. That is what I am, and that is my birthright. And whether you agree with me politically or not does not change. This is who I am. This is how I was born. So that's ridiculous. But you can't say that. You know, they tell me you can't say that you have a political belief that's different than theirs because you're born a certain way. And then most recently, I got this comment from my video yesterday on Kamala Harris and the fact that I predicted in 2018 and again in 2019 that she is going to be the vice presidential pick for the Democratic Party in the nomination for the 2020 election. And I said the reason is in 2018, 2019, and again yesterday is because she's black and a woman. And actually not black, she's Indian, but doesn't matter. She's a person of color and a woman. And that's the reason why Democrats are looking to put her in the vice presidential nomination. And that is not a qualification. That is not a reason for anyone to run for any election. And I'm being told, you can't say that. She's qualified. Well, let me be very clear. I never said she wasn't qualified. She wouldn't be in elected office if she wasn't qualified to some extent, I would hope. But more importantly, that's not why she's being picked for the vice presidency. She's being picked because Democrats want to have a very specific political category filled. They're looking for the box for the woman vote and the black vote. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a minority vote. They're not looking for the best person. If they were looking for the best vice president, then they wouldn't limit that and put the limitation on must be woman, must be person of color. Because if you're looking for the best person, that best person might be an Asian male. It might be an Indian female. It might be an Irish gay woman. I don't know. It could be anything. But if you're limiting it to must be woman, must be black, or at least person of color, then you've removed a lot of options off the table. You have disqualified people who may be far more qualified than the person you end up with. She may be one of the best black women, Kamala Harris, for the Democrats to run with Joe Biden, but that doesn't mean she's the best vice presidential candidate. So I have people coming to me, and there I see the comment on YouTube, which I love the comments. I love them, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Please do comment, but please make it relevant. And don't tell me you can't say that, or any variation on you can't say that. Don't try and change the subject and say these are things you can't say that, because it is something I can say. First of all, First Amendment. I can say anything I want. As long as I'm not inciting a riot and I'm not harming others, I can say anything I want, so can you. But I also need to make it relevant. And when someone says, well, Mike, it's just wrong. Why is it wrong? The criteria that has been put out by the Democratic Party is very clear. They're looking for a box. And whatever fills that box with the most votes is what fills that ticket. Kamala Harris is not being picked because she's the best woman, or let me correct myself. She's not being picked because she's the best vice presidential candidate. She's the best woman that is a person of color that fills the box. If Stacey Abrams was able to bring in more votes, they would have picked her. If Amy Klobuchar could have brought in more votes, they would have gone with her, except she's not black, so she's eliminated. And guess what? Amy Klobuchar had more Democrats supporting her than Kamala Harris did. That's why Amy Klobuchar was in the race longer than Kamala Harris was. It's why Amy Klobuchar got more votes, she got more funding, more donations than Kamala Harris. Democrats rejected Kamala Harris. And even Elizabeth Warren has an even better case, the fake American Indian that she is, because she got even more than Amy Klobuchar. The fact is that Democrats rejected them. That's fine. But you can't tell me that Kamala Harris is the best choice when the choice is limited by black and by race and gender. Those aren't real answers. That's pandering. That's political pandering to generate votes. It's an emotional manipulation of the public and voters. And someone says to me, but you can't say that. Well, yes, I can. When someone says, well, you're ignoring her qualifications, those aren't things that are being considered. They're not part of the equation of why she's being put in this position. It's not why she's considered as a vice presidential candidate. No, they're basing it on race and gender. So yes, I can disregard her actual qualifications, like she's a senator, that she was an attorney general, a district attorney. I can ignore that because Democrats have already ignored that. That is not a factor. And in saying that, you're trying to distract from the public attention and conversation the fact that she's not a real candidate, she's a real check the box option. And that's sad. And I hate to hear this. I hate when people say, you can't say that. Yes, we can say that. And when you say, you can't say that because, well, you're wrong. Because there is nothing, my race does not limit what I can speak about. My gender does not limit what I can speak about. As long as I am educated on the subject, as long as I understand the factors that I'm speaking about, as long as I can provide links and evidence of why I'm making the conclusions I am making, you don't have to agree with it, but you can't tell me I can't say it. That's wrong. And that is an inherent form of bias. That is an inherent form of prejudice. And we see this a lot, mostly from progressives, especially the far, far left, the fringe left. You know, the Black Lives Matter, the progressive leaders of tomorrow, the Antifa types. They're out there saying, but you can't say that, and basing it solely on race. You know what? I never heard Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Democrats say, you can't say this Republican isn't qualified or isn't the best choice. When I've said that in the past, like Richard Hanna and other individuals, when I've taken them on, they never had a question with that. Oh, that's okay. But you mention one of their candidates and it suddenly gets something else. You know, recently I had, as some people may know, I'm running for an elected office. And I recently had members of Black Lives Matter say, well, you can't listen to Michael and you can't vote for Michael because Michael isn't black enough. And instead, you should vote for the white male candidate that Michael is running against because Michael isn't black enough. Do you understand the inherent thing there? Again, that's another you can't say. I can't say I'm a Republican and a conservative and run on conservative values because I'm black, and if I do, then I am somehow denied the birthright that you're looking at in this video, and therefore the white male option is the better option. Somehow my opponent has been raised in his blackness. He's suddenly converted colors and he's turned into a black male, and I've suddenly become white. Do you understand? When people say you can't say that because of your birthright, because you're born a certain color, because you have a certain gender, because you have a certain religion, that's unfair. If that's the only reason why you can disagree with someone, then the problem isn't with who you're arguing against. The problem is you. And I say that I want critique. I want to hear people's opinion. But if you're telling me I can't say something simply because of the color of my skin, the age that I've reached in life, because of my political beliefs, then something is inherently wrong with the way that you are defining what's important, what you believe the qualifications actually are, because none of those things are qualifications. Those are just inherent facts, and they are just facts of life. Deal with it. It's a little bit of a rant. It's something that's annoying, but hopefully I've nipped it in the bud. But if you think I'm wrong, if you think that someone's birthright, the gender they're born into, the race they are born into, their age, if you think things like that make a difference and that excludes people from having a conversation about something else politically or generally in life, then yeah, I want to hear what you think. I want to hear you tell me how me being black means I can't be a conservative and Republican. I want to hear how you can explain to me that being a black Hispanic means that I can't speak from a Republican conservative viewpoint. How that invalidates any and all evidence that I try to provide in each of my videos and all of the articles I've written. Please explain to me how being born stops you from having options and choices in your life, even if someone else disagrees with it. So I'm going to leave it there. You can reach me at 607-242-1582. You can leave a text there on that line, or you can reach us at No Soundbites Allowed and leave a comment in the video. You can reach us at Facebook on Voss Political Commentary. Leave a comment there. I look forward to hearing from you. Also Twitter, MV Consult. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you think. Until then, be well.